No, well, because I usually have my fob attached to my wallet. And if I could attach that to my phone, I would, because I never carry a purse.
Yeah.
And so if I don't have
a pursey to person, like I carry it just to.
Yeah, and if I don't have pockets, I either have like stuff shoved in like my bra and like my pants and my socks Angel. And everywhere.
It's about 15 pounds.
That purse?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's how I get these.
All right. That's the start of
I'm
our
MacGyver.
podcast.
I have like about anything and everything in there.
This is all alternate fitness.
That's the start of our podcast.
Yeah.
Where is everyone's stuff? I can't find my fob. You never know where your phone is. And Emmie doesn't have anything in a purse at all.
I don't know where half my life is this morning. It was a struggle.
Yeah, but this
it's okay. You guys want to do like a formal intro, or you just?
No,
we
usually
can just talk. We're good. You just stop interrupting us.
Yeah.
Let's do our thing.
Yeah, Angel trying to be in this podcast. Angel. Yeah, this is your nap time.
Just stand over there and TikTok.
She said, "Go open up TikTok."
Oh my gosh, Angel's so funny.
I'm just teasing.
Okay, so this morning, coincidentally, I have not eaten breakfast yet, and we are talking about emotional eating.
Yeah. Did you eat breakfast today?
I had a banana on the way over here.
Okay. Are you a breakfast person normally?
Hell yes. But unfortunately, I got diagnosed with hyperthyroidism about a year and a half ago. So my whole morning routine has been like shifted. So now I have to wait an hour after I take my medicine. I can't eat. And then by that time, my whole day starts and then I forget. And so I always pack bananas first thing, and then I'll find whenever I can eat.
Yeah.
How come you have to wait an hour just because of the medicine?
Yeah, when you take thyroid medicine, you can't take anything or eat anything consumed, so that way it goes and starts doing its 1, 2, 3 steps.
Yeah, it like interferes with it probably.
Yeah,
absorption. Got it.
Well, I didn't eat this morning because I like to take my time with my breakfast. It's my favorite meal of the day.
Yeah, so is mine.
So I was like, I want to be able to watch TV, sit down, and eat my breakfast. Mm-hmm. So I'll do it after the podcast. That's my plan.
I had a half a protein shake. The other half is waiting for me.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, I saw it. It was green. Gross.
It's called Nutrition Cambi. You should try it.
I love when people offer me something and I see it and I'm like,
She's
looks
like,
looks a little too
what if
healthy.
I told you it was mint chocolate chip?
I would be down with that.
I'm just going to do that. I'm going to put like super greens and all your stuff.
Well, actually, I feel like that's something that changed my life because my mom made hard-boiled eggs and she told me, or like the deviled eggs, and she told me that it was frosting and I was young. So of course I just bit right into it and it was not frosting.
What do you usually eat then in the morning?
Cereal.
That's your thing?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of cereal?
Not the healthy kind.
She's like, we're not
right
here to
now.
talk about that.
At my house, I have Frosted Flakes, Apple Jacks, Fruit Loops, Captain Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Nice.
Yeah, we need to go back to the grocery store. That's a new hack for you, I think. Like the shake, but we'll make it mint chocolate flavored, and then we'll put super greens in it, and you'll have no idea.
I actually have super greens at my house. The little powder stuff, right?
Yeah,
that powder stuff, right?
Yeah, I have it. Somebody sent it to me.
I think it was either the pasta or the pasta sauce or something we got you was like full of kale.
Oh, really? That pasta sauce was good. It was a pesto.
You look at your friends are even trying to trick you.
I know. Well, Emmie helps me. Emmie helps me because I'm not a good healthy eater.
We got like high protein grilled cheese and
quesadillas. It's very funny because when I am like working with athletes, they'll like ask me like my advice and I'll just start laughing. Like, I don't know. It's comical to me that someone would come to me and be like, so what do you think? I'm like, I don't know.
I think you should keep doing what you're doing.
I'm all, it's working
Look,
for
it's
you.
A bird.
Yeah, you're learning though.
I am learning. But that's why I'm on the podcast because I don't know anything.
Well, so we learn something new every day for sure.
Yeah, that's true. And if someone else is listening and they're like me, then they're like, okay, I can learn too.
Yeah, she can eat high protein grilled cheese. I can do this.
Yeah, so we still need to work on the grilled cheese.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so we're talking about emotional eating today. So that's a lot to unpack, even just right there, because that's like cravings, stress eating, changes in hormones, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not so much like the what we need to eat a lot of times for us, but the how. And when our emotions are crazy or our stress is crazy, it's like a grenade into our perfectly planned life. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your story. And do you struggle with emotional eating at all?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even now, after being in the fitness industry for over a decade, I feel like I still struggle with just that. I feel like I'm bipolar when I'm like in the house on a diet, prepping for a photo shoot, and knowing that I am supposed to stick to a plan, but yet my body's like, I mean, that bagel's right there and the carbs are not going to kill you. And it's these conversations I have with myself, and I'm like, no, I don't really need to have that. And it's hard. It's hard because, I do have a good relationship with food now after I learned about macronutrients and knowing that what my body needs and how it can help me be better at the gym and as well as my mood swings. But, I didn't know that in the past when I first started my fitness journey, and I had a really bad relationship with food. And not only that, it was one of those like mindsets where you were like, this is almost impossible. Like, how are people doing this?
When you say a bad relationship with food, like, what do you mean? Like,
my at the time when I first started, I started modeling when I was 13 in Florida, and I had no education on nutrition. Living in Miami, Florida, I was told by agents that I had to lose 15 pounds. At the time, I was probably about 120 pounds at my height, and which is about 15 pounds less than what I weigh now. Imagine that. And, it messes with you mentally. I didn't even have social media then. So I think about the girls now. I can't even imagine. But I would try to starve myself. And I would try to, never had any bulimia, or I would never want to throw up at the time, but I would try to starve myself. And then I would, was opted to looking into like fat burners. And I remember taking one time Rip Fuel in college, and I was like a crackhead. And it was like the worst feeling. I felt so sick. And yeah, it did suppress my appetite, but it was like bad. I remember just thinking back to that now at my age and thinking that's sad. And I think it's really, really important for girls who are teenagers, most importantly, to be educated. And I feel like I wish they offered that in schools. If not, I would love to offer like speaking engagements with younger girls, because there's so much to know about protein, carbs, and fats and how it can help you versus thinking that you just have to have a certain amount of calories.
That is a weird thing though, because that's not something like we discussed in my household. I mean, obviously, Emmie knows I grew up a single mom and we didn't have a lot of money, and my mom was working all the time. So we would eat what my mom could make us before she left. So we'd have like frozen pancakes and I would heat those up in the microwave, and that's what my brother and I would eat. And I was responsible for my brother starting in third grade.
Yeah.
I was in third grade and he was 4. So that is like another, puts a weird relationship with food, because you're not like looking to your parents to make the food. Like, I'm the one. And I think that's still to this day why I love cereal, because that was what it was easy for us to make, right? You're not going to burn yourself. But we never talked about macronutrients. And I know like kind of macros are kind of a newer thing too, that people are, honing in on, but we never discussed that. And I did babysit a younger girl who did struggle with her weight, and she was the only one out of the family. And then they started looking at that type of thing and started talking about it. What do you do that with your daughter? Do you kind of bring that? Because she's she's a healthy eater.
Yeah, and it's not my fault. I wish I could eat like her. She eats better than me. So I have a 14-year-old high schooler girl, and she is, I try to educate myself. I try to educate her on just bits and pieces where it's not overwhelming to her. And then honoring that she is still a teenager and we still stop at McDonald's. Like it's letting her know that this is important to eat these types of food, but it's not everything. Like, it's okay to have whatever you want. I do not let her have soda though. That's one thing that it's like a no, like you're not allowed to have soda. And she's tried it before and she just doesn't. And I just like tell her the reasons why I don't want her to have it. But here's the thing. She's in high school now, but one of my biggest fears, I guess, from my own experience and what I experienced, I grew up in a Latin household, and rice and beans was like a staple. And Puerto Rican household, like you're supposed to eat. And but the Latin culture, women are supposed to look a certain way, and they want curves. So muscles is not like, it's very taboo. And your family, like when they see you, my mom still does it and my grandmother still do it. They still look at me and they're like, oh, you've lost some weight. It's literally the first thing they say. If you lost weight or you've gained weight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because of my parents, and I don't know if it's, I'm looking over at another Latin person in the room, and they're nodding their head and they say yes, because it's like feeding them it's like an endearing type of like, hey, do you want to eat? Are you hungry? So you walk in. So when they see you, I am probably the more fitter one in the family. And so they look at me and they look at me malnutrition. Like I'm a skinny Ethiopian person that has muscles. So they're like, oh, you're lifting too much weight, or you're going to hurt yourself. So for me, I didn't want to bring that to my daughter, because I always felt I had a complex about that. And I still do. And I still struggle with that. There's trauma that we go through when we're younger that we don't realize, that it brings us to our adulthood, and we have the choice to either repeat it or change it. And so for me, besides my love life, what I saw, it was food. It was one of the things where I just wanted to expose her and educate her in things that I wish I knew when I was younger that I know now. Mm-hmm. But at the same time too, knowing that there is a balance. So for me, teaching my daughter was something that, hey, eat super good during the week, on the weekends when friends are over, or when we're at the movies, popcorn is totally fine. Like I wanted to show her by example instead of telling her what she should and shouldn't have. And I think that when she saw me, when she's in school, well, not now, but she's in school all 5 days a week. Back then, she didn't get to see what I was eating. So I eat really good throughout the week. So for me, it's like my trifecta meals during the week. But on the weekends, I eat whatever I want. And so when I go to parties, or when I'm taking her to kids' parties, she saw me having cake and pizza with other parents. In her mind, she's thinking my mom eats normal. She never saw me saying, is that fat-free milk? Or is that, I'm going to have a salad. Or if we stopped at McDonald's, I would have chicken nuggets with her too.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, it was important for me to showcase that too. Mm-hmm. And then also too, now that she's older, now she sees me eating the trifecta meal. She's like, what is that? And she loves eating them too. But she didn't know there was a difference, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think like you're hitting on something really crucial. And that's the relationship you have with food starts when you're young. Mm-hmm. And if you think about, how we just relationship with food in general, right? We celebrate with food. Yeah. We show love with food. Yeah. We, when we're in pain, we use food. Like when somebody dies, you cook food for the family. Mm-hmm. We have such a strange relationship with it. Mm-hmm. And how you grew up, how like culturally, everything that you've experienced around food and the relationship that it's held in your life absolutely affects you as an adult. And it gets even weirder when you start to pull in like the diet aspect of it, because it can go either way for people, right? If you start to pay attention to calories and macros and you never have, it can absolutely go like the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And I kind of experienced that.
What do you mean the wrong way? Like in a like negative for your body?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's a positive aspect, right? Like you haven't really ever focused on it and you're like, oh man, I didn't know that. And that
was
one
lacking
thing,
protein.
Yeah. That one thing is like life changing. Mm-hmm. For me, it was the opposite. So I grew up actually with fast food as like my primary source of fuel. I didn't eat vegetables for most of my life. To no fault of my parents. That's just how it was. We didn't know a lot about nutrition. My parents didn't know a lot about nutrition. Everything I learned about food started just by watching the Food Network cooking shows, believe it or not, because there wasn't the internet. There wasn't like any resources back then. So I started to pay attention when I hit puberty, because your body can no longer process all the fast food and junk food that you've been eating in the same way, and you start to get fat. And that opened up Pandora's box of complications for me, because I had no clue what I was doing and I was trying to figure it out. And I was asking my mom, because she's, that's my one resource that I have, and she didn't know. So then just trying to learn a little bit, and everything that I learned, it just, not only was it wrong, but it kind of took me down the wrong path. When I learned about calories, I became too restrictive.
Yeah, became obsessive about
Yeah,
it.
you become obsessed, and then you get these like fears that you're like, oh, okay, well, if I eat too much of this, then I'm going to get fat again, or this is going to ruin everything for me. So you start to create these weird rules and habits, and it's really easy to become too restrictive. And you carry that shit with you like your whole life.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get out of that. And a lot of us as adults still have a lot of those weird things around food. And it's different for each of us. And I think part of it is talking about it more and knowing, hey, you know, sticking to a healthy diet is hard enough. But with all of the other stuff that we got going on in our head, you're not alone in that. They say it's like 40% of people struggle from emotional eating.
Yeah.
I think it's more. Because you're not considering
100%.
Stress and
fitness people do. There's people who I know in the fitness industry that like they have these, you know, whether if it's workouts or these goals that they have, and all of us struggle with it. Honestly, if you do not struggle with food, it's just because you're not like, you're just, God bless you. You're God's favored. Because I feel like it's just something that no one really talks about too. Because it's like, you know, you're kind of embarrassed and you don't want anybody to look at you like you have an eating disorder, right? But where is that that line where do we have all of us have eating disorders, right? Because there's different levels of it. I know I definitely have body dysmorphia, and I don't see myself the way people see me. So when I see my magazine pictures, or when I see like how I looked at competitions, I'm like, oh, wow, I look great.
Yeah.
But while I'm going through the process, and while I'm prepping for shows, or when I'm prepping, or when I'm eating on my daily intake, I'm a bully to myself, and it's bad. And it's something that I am still struggling with. I've gotten so much better. Now I'm 42 years old. I'll be 42 in September, but it's taking me that long to get to that mindset where I'm like, it's okay. Like you fit in your clothes, your body is moving. And at this stage in my life, I'm really focusing on my health, more importantly, and my mental health. Because I feel like if mentally I'm not okay, then it's gonna just spill over to everything else.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
It's like self-love is a lifelong journey. But you know, the more you can focus on that, and that's why I love this topic of mindset, and this one in particular is one of my favorites around emotional eating to talk about, because it's such a deep-rooted struggle in so many of us, and some of us don't even realize that we emotionally eat. And Cambi and I were talking about the other day, you know, when you're stressed, you don't eat.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite.
And that's a form of emotional eating.
I'm one of those God's children. I don't really diet at all. I just eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I look skinny, so people think you're healthy, but I'm 100% not healthy. And I know it. Emmie knows it. It's most important that I know it.
Yeah.
It's funny you say self-love, because someone was talking to me about that the other day. Erica, actually. Okay. She was talking to me about self-love. She's like, what do you do for self-love? And I was like, you know, like sometimes I do face masks. And she's like, that's self-care. And I was like, oh, there's a difference? And she's like, yeah, like self-love is like what you tell yourself. And I was like, oh no, I'm really mean to myself.
Yeah.
Like you don't think about that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, and also when it comes to the emotional eating, I don't know if I saw this from my mom, but my mom's the same way. If she like goes through a breakup or like something happens in our family, she does not eat. And she'll lose like 8 pounds in like a week, but she looks the exact same because our bodies just, I don't know, we just can't put on weight like that. Like we just don't have, my body wouldn't allow me to like put on a bunch of weight. And I know that because I've consumed a ton of calories, and my weight doesn't really fluctuate that much. So it's weird for me when I hear people emotional when they want to eat, because that's the last thing I want to do. And especially, I was telling Emmie too, and I think you caught kind of the tail end of the conversation, but this pandemic has been really weird. And I'm a naturally like happy person, but I derive my happiness from other people. And when you can't be around other people like that, it's very difficult for me. And so I've really struggled, and I never was the type of person that woke up and was like, you need to be happy today. Like, tell yourself that. I've never been like that. I just was happy. So this was a weird time for me, and I wasn't eating. And I would be at the gym. I would have gone 3 days not eating, and I'd be at the gym, and I'm like, why can I not run on the treadmill? Why can I not pick up this 15-pound weight that I did a couple weeks ago? Like, what's wrong with me? And then when you really start looking at it, it's like, you haven't eaten. Like, you have nothing to fuel your body to go to the gym.
Yeah.
You know? So, and the gym is what's good for my mental health, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not there because I love lifting weights. I'm there because I need it to start my day like that.
Yeah.
You know?
I grew up with the kidney disease at the age of 4. And so my mom was very particular with my diet, knowing that the doctor had told her you have to watch her sodium intake, not too much protein. It's just everything has to be super, super balanced. While kids had sodas available to them and like Swiss cakes and Star Crunch available. You guys are all laughing.
Yeah,
you guys know what I'm talking about.
What is Star Crunch? I don't even know what that is.
It's like the little W Factory little.
Oh, it's like the
cookies.
caramel, chocolate, crispy.
What? I need to find these. Do they still make these?
Yes.
Cambi.
I don't know why I know this.
I'm like,
I don't know why I know this.
Emmie's like, no. Hey, we could have some cheat meals.
So my mom would have a refrigerator outside, and we had fruits in Tupperware, all fresh, and water bottles, and if we had soda, it was Sprite. And I laugh now thinking about it. It was normal to me back then, but I feel
you would put like Sprite in a water bottle.
No. We had Sprite available.
Okay,
that was the only soda that was available. And then my mom always cooked, so I never went out to a restaurant. I never if it was McDonald's, that was the only place that we did drive-through. So growing up was a lot different for me. My mom was very particular with my diet because she already knew my health issues. So fast forward to an agency telling me that I had to lose weight, and I was already a cheerleader and super thin and tall, and they just wanted me super lean. And
when you look back at pictures of yourself, are you like, oh yeah, maybe I could have?
No, I've always had a muscular build.
Yeah.
Like I've always had broad shoulders and so on. But they just wanted me really, really skinny.
Okay.
And it was for
like waif-like almost.
Like waif-like,
okay.
yeah. And I was thin, but I did have an athletic build. And thank God for the fitness world being introduced to me in my 20s. But back then I did end up losing the weight. I booked work, and then I realized in college that my body completely changed. Was introduced to alcohol and fast food in the colleges. And that's where the curve stepped in. And my agent was like, at the time, was like, maybe you should be like a Miami Heat dancer or something. And I'm like, huh? And that was her nice way of saying, not to give me an eating disorder, but saying your body physically is not made for editorial modeling. It's more for acting or lifestyle. Or
they're basically saying you're too curvy.
Basically, yeah.
They need to tell that to your boyfriend.
Not made for editorial modeling, to be fair.
No. And then, that kind of like, stuck with me though.
Yeah.
Starting at 13 and then going into like up to 21. I moved to California, got married at 23 and met my ex-husband at 21, and then had my daughter. And that's where the first weight gain for me kind of happened, where I gained over 80 pounds being at a high-risk pregnancy with my kidney disease. And I've never had a struggle with weight since my modeling days at the time when I was
How
younger.
did you lose that weight?
Postpartum depression.
Oh, well, that's not good.
No. But I was depressed because I was just going through my hormones. And then I was just all of a sudden a new mom. And like, I remember looking at myself in the mirror thinking, how the heck did I get here? Like just looking at my body, and I had cellulite and stretch marks, and I was just so grossed out with myself. I was like, what did I just do? But when I was pregnant,
you birthed a baby.
I did.
That's not an
created
easy
a human being.
Yeah, I know.
But it's hard to be nice to yourself because you're looking at, you don't care about that at the moment.
No, and I started modeling very young, and I wasn't modeling at the time, but I just remember being a mom and then just looking at myself. And then my husband and I at the time, I wasn't physically we weren't connecting. And I was thinking it was me physically, the way I looked, and it had nothing to do with that. But I just started working out and started doing Taibo videos. And I had a trainer come to the house. I had nothing that fit me. I just wore like big t-shirts and pregnancy clothes. And I lost 60 pounds in 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Probably not the healthiest way.
No, that's
I remember,
fast.
yeah. And I did it because I remember seeing something in a magazine with Heidi Klum, how she got ready for Victoria's Secret's fashion show. And they gave like a sample diet, which was salad, coffee.
Oh god,
It's called
Yeah.
starvation.
Yeah, pretty much starvation. I did it.
I do
It
worry
worked.
about that for myself though, because I only eat like a certain amount of food. I only
Yeah.
eat like maybe 20 foods. It's actually a eating disorder in itself. It's
Yeah.
called like AMRID,
Yeah.
and it like all stands for something. But it's like where my taste buds are like crazier than everyone else's. Apparently, I super taste everything, which is why things don't taste good to me that taste good to other like normal
Yeah.
people. But I do. My mom has said it too. She's like, I feel like you're too vain to have a child because your body does change, and if you only eat 20 things, how do you diet
Yeah.
that weight away? You know,
Yeah.
it's a weird thing for women how I look naked in the mirror really affects my self-esteem.
Mhm.
You know, that's unfortunate because what's most important is what's inside.
Yeah.
But we don't care about that.
It's
No.
meant to, though. Like, I mean, we automatically want to assume that emotional eating is a female problem, or that it's only women that struggle with body image issues, but it's men too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to suffer through the same types of things as us. You look at social media or media in general and how they portray like the ideal man. There's like a muscular version of that a lot of guys struggle with.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. All I can picture is there's this picture of that Steve Cook just recently posted, and he's like shirtless and he has on these shorts, and my friend Juan has these same shorts, and he sent a picture of them side by side, and he's like, who wore it better? And I was like, of course you. But I mean, have you seen Steve Cook's body?
Yeah, see, exactly.
I was like, oh my god. But yeah, but it's crazy because I wouldn't even think like that.
Oh yeah, it's a human problem. We beat ourselves up. So
But also, we're nicer to men about it, though. We call it dad bods.
Oh yeah,
and I
where's
would
the
much
mom bod?
rather. Yeah, exactly. I would much rather date a man who does not have six pack and wants to take me to eat at Zocalo versus somebody, right? Versus
Me
somebody
too.
who's like, I'm in a meal prep. I swear to God, when I
Yeah.
used to go on first dates,
It's
and
not
now I
attractive.
work for a meal prep company, so please, everyone, eat meal prep. But when I would go on first dates and they're like, yeah, like I order meal prep from so and so, I'd be like, oh no. I just in my head would be thinking, this is not going to work
Yeah.
because you're going to want me to eat salmon and asparagus with you, and I don't like that.
You know what's sad, Cambi? I think the same way. And I'm in the fitness industry.
I actually fully agree too. Like,
Yeah.
See, I love that. But men don't feel the same. Men, they want me to be in a freaking thong bikini on their boat looking like a model
I don't know if I fully
when they
agree
have
with
like
that.
this belly. And I'm like, I love you like that. And they're like, what are you eating?
Well, the wrong guys are going to be asking
That's
what you're
true.
eating.
That's
Those
true.
are the guys who are going to take the mirror away from you while you're in the car trying to see if you need to powder your nose.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So,
That's
okay,
you're
so
right.
you know, so ladies, if you're listening to this, that's not the person for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The right person will love you no matter what.
That's so true.
But we have to love ourselves no matter what because we set the standard on how people should love us, right?
Yep.
oh, damn. Is this my therapy session?
Oh, here we go. So what are some of the things that you tell yourself or you do when you're feeling like you need to work on the self-love? Like how have you overcome a lot of that?
I just did recently, which is so crazy. I have been married and I have been in several relationships post that. And it wasn't until my dad passed away about 3 years ago that I had to have my rock bottom moment where like look at myself in the mirror, knowing that I have modeling as a background, multiple covers, titles and fitness industry. I have a healthy daughter. I have tons of health issues, but I have a platform of being a certain person in a lot of people's lives as far as a fitness expert and someone who so and so has it together, and I didn't. And it was one of those things where I kept putting myself in these toxic relationship, and it's because I had no self-love. I kept accepting relationships where it stemmed from literally my childhood of seeing my dad not value my mom a certain way. And I kept choosing those type of relationships. And, you know, it stemmed from that. And that's why I feel like it's something that many people don't talk about. Your childhood, whatever you have in that, whatever happened in the past or whatever you saw, what was acceptable, what was done, our parents they did what they could have done with the tools that they had. I knew that there was things that I did not want to bring into being a mother to my daughter, such as what she saw was acceptable for me dealing with in relationships, with me, with food, with me, everything. Just the friendships I had, gosh, the relationships I had with my siblings, everything. And I have an amazing relationship with my siblings, but there was things that if I had a choice to change and the things I had a choice to keep, I just started really focusing on what am I going to do from here? Mm-hmm. I'm in rock bottom right now, starting over, literally had no job, no car, almost 40, a single mom back in Sacramento. And I was starting over, and I really had to look at myself in the mirror and say, what are you going to do from here on out? And it started from just me changing all of that, from being a mother, most importantly, and what do I want to showcase to my daughter? And it was from A to Z. It was the jobs I accepted, the people I surrounded my life, the food I put in my mouth, what I listened to in the car, the movies I saw, the books I read, every single thing mattered. And, you know, it makes me uncomfortable to even think about it, because it's like, it took me that long to figure that out. And I think that some of us go through these motions of like what other people, living lives what we think other people want us to live. And there's so many people who don't look at themselves in the mirror and say, is this really what I want to do? Mm-hmm. Is this the relationship I really want to be in? Is this how I really want to take care of my body? It's those things that all matter, because they do like end up showcasing later on. Maybe not now, but they showcase later on, whether if you have a disease because you weren't taking care of yourself, or you end up becoming in an abusive relationship where someone's went from verbally abusing you to physically abusing you. Then it goes into boundaries and relationships, from friendships to, gosh, jobs that you choose. And it just extends and it rolls out like a domino effect. And for me, I was like, okay, I need to take control of everything. Mm-hmm. I was really fortunate. Gosh, I don't even know how trifecta came into my life, but I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Uriah or someone who introduced it to me and said, hey, there's a food company that just started, and they're in Sacramento, and you're in Sacramento now. And I don't tell this to a lot of people, but Trifecta was feeding me when I had no job. I had no food. And I was like, I'm going to start with vegan food. I'm going to try to be really good. I was like, yeah, this is not for me. Even though vegan food is great, but let me start paleo. And then it went to classic and so on. I tried everything. And from there, I started getting jobs, as far as people knew like my experience and my jobs, and they knew I was back in Sacramento. And then it started I went into therapy. I did trauma therapy. I went to see a trauma specialist for about 6 years, as well as my daughter. And then I realized a lot of things that I went through my childhood really affected me growing into my adulthood. And
that's a weird thing.
It's a scary thing.
Yeah.
And
did you tell your mom about it?
No.
My mom's not receptive.
No.
About that.
I don't talk to my mom about it, only because it's not anybody's fault. But it's not anybody's fault. It's not my fault. It's not her fault.
Right.
It's just, it's one of those things where we learn what we learn, and then we try to do the best we can. And my mom was an amazing mom, and she did the best that she could do. And the same thing with my dad. Not to, may he rest in peace, but my dad was a great dad, a shitty husband though. And, I think now if he would see me in the relationship now, he would be so happy and know that I'm in a safe relationship. Mm-hmm. But
no, you almost made me cry just because I know you and David.
Yeah.
And I know you individually, and I know you guys together. And it just makes me like so happy that you have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you guys have really like found your person. Anybody who's around you knows.
Yeah. It's
like you're each other's person.
Yeah. It's so crazy because we talk about this. We've talked about this together. My boyfriend and I have known each other for over 18 years. And now we're in a relationship. But we wouldn't have worked out in the past because of what we went through in the past. Mm-hmm. And we both have gone to therapy separately for our own issues. And we were whole people before we became high-fiving each other, best friends. Like it just wouldn't have not worked. Even now, I feel like I'm able to do the things that I love to do. And he's able to shine as an artist now because we accept each other as whole, separate people versus as he's fulfilling certain voids that I have or vice versa. And we talk about our dream list, right? Because we all have our list of, well, I want this in a guy. And number 9 is this. And you know what's funny? No one writes a list of what I don't want. And I had to go through so much shit to realize, I don't want this, right? Because you sit there and it's like sitting in a restaurant and we're like, okay, what do you guys want? And girls are like, I don't know what I want to eat, right? Most of the time. Mm-hmm. But, the first thing we should say to people is like, well, I don't want to go here because if not, that's going to be an option to someone else.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, you just said anywhere, So for me, I just, I think I'm so aware of who I am now and what I want and what I don't want, and showcasing that to my daughter and explaining things to her while she still has to make mistakes, because I have to honor that too, because we learn when we go through mistakes more than anything. Mm-hmm. And that's the hardest part, being a parent, right?
Letting them make the mistakes.
Oh, it's the worst thing. It's the worst thing.
Yeah.
And so as a parent, and you knowing with your background, how do I tell my daughter when TikTok seems to be a professional nutritionist outlet for kids these days, where they get recipes and diet advice, and
I swear if I see one more tea on TikTok, that this is how you lose 10 pounds in a week.
I haven't got onto diet TikTok yet.
It's like every other story.
And it's everywhere.
The lemon,
really?
Spicy tea.
The lemon cayenne pepper diet.
God, if you're listening, please
Beyonce
do not do this. This is not a real thing. You're literally just not eating food. That's why you're losing weight. There's other ways to do it. You don't have to hurt yourself. You don't have to do that.
Emmie always says the best diet is the one you can stick to.
Yeah.
And I literally think about that, because every time people try and just change everything about how I eat, and Emmie's the only person who's been like, tell me what you eat and I will make it healthy for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, really? That's amazing.
Yeah. You just make small modifications.
Exactly.
So that's it.
It literally comes back down to self-love, right? And you have to learn who you are. Mm-hmm. You have to have some good self-awareness, what you want, what you don't want in your life. Learn what makes you tick and how to nourish that part of you. Mm-hmm. Because if you can work on that relationship, nothing but good things are going to stem from that.
Yes.
And
say it louder for the people in the back.
Nutrition is it's literally learning how to thrive, right? Yes. It's what your body needs. Mm-hmm. Don't look at somebody else. Don't focus on what somebody else is doing. Pay attention to what you need. And it's a lifelong journey, and you got to figure it out. But you don't have to overhaul your whole life. You don't have to suffer. Mm-mm. You don't have to beat yourself up. You don't have to drink whatever this tea is.
Oh my gosh.
And you also need to have good girlfriends like you guys.
Yes.
Chady and I were talking this morning before 8 a.m. about a margarita. And I kid you not, I have not stopped thinking about a margarita all morning. And it is 9:22 in the morning.
Let's have one on Sunday after my shoot.
Yes. Can we please?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Let's go. We could go right here at Polanco.
I'm inviting myself.
Yeah. Oh, no, you were 100% invited.
You know what you said is that I love what you said is that when I work with clients on online, my nutrition programs, I tell people all the time, they're like, just tell me what you do. I want to know, because you're able to. I'm like, no. You have to tell me what you're eating all week and let me know what are your favorite places to go to eat, so I can help you figure out what to eat there.
Yes.
Because once you start making a cookie cutter diet or something super strict, that's never attainable. You can never maintain that. Plus, what are you teaching yourself to diet? And it's supposed to be a lifestyle thing. That's why it's supposed to be maintaining it. So for me, I have my deal breakers on things that I will not eliminate.
Like margaritas.
No. Mine are bagels. I love bagels. I have to just have those. And yeah, I like to have that soft, doughy crunch. Even if there's modifications to it. Look at me craving food right now. Cambi's looking at me and I'm
because
like,
she has a shoot on Saturday, so she has to like she's been eating like chicken and broccoli, right?
Well, no, just this week I'm gonna be super strict. I've been cheating the whole time.
Yeah, she's on a cut this week.
Cheating the whole time. It's horrible. But I've been eating really healthy. I haven't been drinking at all, and I have been cutting my my carb intake as far as not complex carbs.
I hate drinking alcohol now because I really see it in my face the next morning.
Yeah. Really?
Like the puffiness of it. Yeah. So I'm just like, to me, I'm just like, I would rather just have a water.
Yeah, alcohol's a tough one.
Yeah.
But it is like it's the ebb and flow, right? You're never going to always be like super strict. You have to have, some days you're going to be more strict. Other days you're going to have a little bit more wiggle room, but it's like navigating the natural flow of life. Sometimes you're going to gain a little bit of weight. Sometimes you're going to lose a little bit of weight, but that's the journey. You know, you can't look at your life in like 6-week windows and say, okay, I'm going to starve myself or do this crazy thing or, you know, beat yourself up if it doesn't go as planned, which is honestly inevitable for all of us as much as you want to try and be strict. That's good luck with that. It's the little things.
It's impossible.
We like to end the podcast knowing 2 things.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one is your motto, like your personal motto. Emmie's is the best.
I mean, I have a couple mottos like breathe and be brave. So it's one of those like take a deep breath and just go for it, whatever it is. And then do unto others you want them to do unto you. So I always tell my daughter that, just like when she has she's my little Gemini. A little Kanye alter ego comes out, and I'm like,
do you call her alter ego Kanye?
I call her Yeezy. That's been her nickname because she has this like RBF face sometimes, and she's a teenager. You know, she's a beautiful young girl.
Yeah, she's a great teenager.
She's an amazing teenager, and she just has her moments though. Well, she'll say something, and you know, she's my only child, so I have to like, baby, would you like someone saying that to you? And then she's just like, oh, I'm just joking. And I'm like, there's a truth in every joke.
Seriously, that's so true. When I was that age, I would always roll my eyes at my mom and she'd be like, stop rolling your eyes. I'm like, I'm not. To this day, I'm like, I did not roll my eyes. And my mom's like, yes, you did.
Really?
It was just like an unconscious
for sure did.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I like that. Do unto others, the golden rule.
Well, breathe
and be brave.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Okay, Emmie's is good.
Okay, so what is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal.
If you don't have one, you just pick the first thing that comes to your head.
I mean, is this a person? Because a spirit animal could mean a lot of things. Is this like a personality or?
Yeah, it could
be. Is this like a animal?
Yeah, like an actual animal.
Yeah, mine's a toucan and Cambi's is a penguin.
I would say for sure mine's like a little sassy chihuahua.
Oh,
that's so funny because you know what? Uriah said that he would be a Frenchie.
No, that was Brian.
Was that Brian?
Brian said he would
be
a Frenchie.
Wait, what was Uriah's? Yeah, you're right. Brian did say
Uriah's was this giant fat guy on a yellow surfboard.
Oh my gosh.
And he is right.
Which the more I think about it, I'm like,
funny.
You know, it checks out.
I forgot that that's what he said. It was Brian that said the Frenchie. I just remember when he said Frenchie, I was like, but then when we looked up the characteristics, I was like, oh yeah, this does like kind of go for you. Okay, so Emmie's motto, everybody loves.
I want to hear it.
You are going to want to steal it, I think.
Be a badass with a good ass.
Hell yeah. I love that.
And you do have a good ass.
Yeah,
not to sexually harass you.
No, I'll take it. Well, please sexually harass me.
I do recommend get a motto and then tell yourself that every single day. When you look in the mirror and you're hating on yourself, come up with something to pump yourself up, whatever it is. Use it in the gym when you need a little bit of extra like oomph. You gotta be your best cheerleader, right?
Or find a friend who's a good cheerleader.
Yeah.
Because
what prompted that? What prompted those mottos, guys? Like, what was for me, I know what prompted my motto, but what, like, be a badass and with a good ass.
Well, I mean, I've always had this like internal competitive drive, and what makes me feel really good about myself is I just want to feel like a badass in my own life. Like I want to feel strong. I want to feel on top of it. I want to feel like this force that makes me feel really good. And then the good ass piece is like, take care of yourself and know that like, again, it goes back to self-love. And there's times when I don't feel like I look the most amazing, but I tell myself that.
And she looks phenomenal, guys. I was checking her on the way over here. I was like, hey,
girl. She's like, who's that power walking up the hill?
I know, her legs. I was like, wow, look at those calves.
But that's part of my motivation too, right? I want to like feel good in my own skin. So the good ass part is one, like, continually work on yourself to like look and feel the way that you want to. Yeah. But as soon as I saw that motto, I don't remember where I came across it, but I stole it and it's mine forever.
I love it. I love
Just claim it as your own.
What's yours, Cambi?
Mine is pretty as pretty does. My mom, we grew up saying that. I was an ugly kid. That's probably why
you
she
had
said
a glow up, girl.
But you know what? I will say, I wouldn't change it for anything, because when you are not likable because you're pretty, because think about like in school, people are drawn to attractive people, but you have to have something. So I had to have a personality, right? So then I could just carry that on with me, because that will never change.
Now you got the whole package.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, stop when you finish.
She's like, now I'm funny and pretty and smart and nice.
A breathe and breathe came from me going to Costa Rica at XPT camp, where a lot of SEALs and ex-NFL players go to, and it's all with Gabrielle Reese and Lard Hamilton, and it's a hardcore, extreme fitness program where you're like weight training in the pool with weights, and
how long
for 4 hours a day, ice baths for two times a day for 3 minutes, and then saunas, surfing in Costa Rica. I mean, it's crazy.
Do they still do this?
Yeah, they still do this. I'll send you the information. And funny story is that although I am like great with weights, I can't swim. Like I hold my nose swimming. Like it's like a little kid jumping into the pool, and the whole event was in the water.
Oh my god!
And so Whitney John is there, Jana Braslin, Evan at the time, and then I forgot. Gosh, I can't remember her name. Carolyn Pierce. So all of them, and then me, all these beautiful fitness girls jumping into the pool like badasses, and then it's me. Holding my nose. And
my God. How long ago was this?
This was last summer, I think. Or no, not last summer. The summer before that.
Okay.
Before COVID. And we went to Costa Rica, and I didn't want to say no to the trip. It was all expense paid, and we were gonna, have a great time. But I didn't want to say I can't swim, so I was like, I'm gonna get a nose plug. No one's gonna know about it.
Stop it.
Yeah. So my breathe for real be brave was because I didn't want to drown. Oh, true story.
Oh my God,
but
Chady,
I did it.
Not with you.
Yeah,
this is a great story. You need to tell this at like dinner parties.
Yeah,
this is hysterical.
So
it's also like a vulnerability about you that people may not know, but like
no one knows.
But like I am going to look at you differently now.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's amazing.
She's so pretty, but she can't swim.
No,
y'all.
I can't. I swim with one hand. I'm an amazing one hand swimmer.
Did you have a pool at your house?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Good. I was about to put a gate
one
up
day I
that.
will, but I mean, listen, again, I could swim. I could swim with one hand, but diving into the water, it's
and
just
like
not
getting
gonna
the
happen.
weight and stuff. Yeah.
No, and into the ocean in Costa Rica surfing with no. But I did it, and I had a nose plug, and I killed it, and I hated
I'm just trying to picture you with a nose plug.
I got
didn't people see that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody looked at me. It was funny because there was lifeguards there, and they had people underneath the water the whole time, making sure that I was the girl who was at the back of the bus. I was definitely the slower athlete on the trip. No. But I did it. I had an amazing time, and I actually did good in the water stuff. And the stuff that I thought I was to excel on, which was mountain biking, I crashed into a ditch.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
But yeah, so breathe and breathe. It's like literally the saying that I have, because even though I don't want to do it, I always have the best experience doing stuff that is out of my comfort zone.
Totally.
That's the way to live.
Yes.
Yep. All right. So breathe, be brave, be nice to yourself, and
be a badass.
Don't drink the starvation tea.
No,
So we
don't at all.
All right.
Have a good day.
Toodles.
Doodles. What is that from? That Disney show.